Corey Graves trying to get fired, AEW's Backstage described as weird, Tempest review of AEW Dynamite, and more. I'm Luke Owen, your forever Jam That Champion, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive bonus videos over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk.
It is now day 3 of the curious case of Corey Graves. Ollie Davis covered in the first day that Graves had an outburst on Twitter where he said that he was moved to NXT because he wasn't famous enough to call Raw on Netflix, a not-so-subtle jab at Pat McAfee, who returned to Raw now that his college game day coverage has come to an end. Graves returned to NXT at New Year's Evil, where he joined the commentary team of Vic Joseph and Booker T, and fans noted that he looked visibly annoyed and grumpy throughout the broadcast. Which brings us to the second day, where the story seemingly jumped into work territory, when Graves promoted this week's NXT, saying that he had a lot to say and we should tune in to find out what he had to say. However, there was nothing to say because Graves was not on the show. PW Insider reported instead that he was seen flying out of Orlando, which Fightful Select confirmed. When it came to the idea that Corey and WWE were building an angle for a match with Pat, Ebu of WrestlePurist said on Twitter, WWE is not building any kind of Graves-McAfee match. Fightful Select reported that people close to Graves were saying that this was a shoot, and he was legitimately frustrated with being moved to NXT. However, like everything with Corey Graves, sometimes it's best to take it with a grain of salt, as they added, to be clear, Fightful Select has not confirmed if this is a work or a shoot. Dave Meltzer took the same approach, replying to people on Twitter that this could all be a work. However, on Wrestling Observer Radio, he did have some new information on the situation. Meltzer claims that in September and October, the plan was for Graves to join Joe Tessitore on SmackDown when Cole and McAfee moved back to Raw. That then seemingly changed in late December or early January, as when asked if the SmackDown team would be Graves and Tessitore, he was told to be determined it's not determined. Fightful Select noted in their report that those in NXT were surprised to see Graves doing commentary for New Year's Evil, as they'd not been told he was returning to the brand. Meltzer backs up the Fightful and PW Insider reports that Graves was unhappy about the move back to NXT, and interestingly adds about the Twitter outburst, there's people who think that he was trying to get fired and that's why he did it. Meltzer doesn't think that will work though, because WWE might have a fear of him going to AEW if he did. He added they could also suspend him, which maybe they've done for all we know. It doesn't have to be announced that they've suspended him. Or it could all still be a work. Let's not forget the Booker T thing from a few years back. Over to AEW now, and Action Bronson has spoken with Ariel Helwani about his time working with All Elite Wrestling, and given that it's an interview with Ariel Helwani, it predictably had some juicy gossip about the backstage feeling in AEW. Bronson worked a tag match with Hook against 2.0 on the Grand Slam edition of Rampage in 2022, and from there said that he was doing some training for any other potential date. However, he adds, you know what they do? They don't call you back. I never got called back. He was asked if he enjoyed being backstage at AEW and said, I did. Actually, no. I enjoy the act. I don't like the backstage is weird over there. It's just weird. It was just like everyone's cliquey. Should be noted that Grand Slam 2022 was in the aftermath of Brawl Out, which might explain the cliquey nature. He added, despite the weird vibes, that it was a great time. If I get a call and it's a big show, I'm coming. And just before we get into the AEW Dynamite review, with 2 less title matches and 1 less Rock, NXT returned to its usual rating numbers, drawing 779,000 viewers. This was to be expected after last week's show, but it is still the 4th best number the show has drawn since its move to the CW. Its .17 in the 18 to 49 is also the 2nd best number in that demo since the move. Now here's a video from today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, and personal testimony from me. But Surfshark has been great as of late for me accessing the old WWE network, as it's still available in some territories, as well as getting the US version of Pluto TV, which has an awesome Twilight Zone channel. Anyway, that's enough from me. Here's a video that I'm in.
Yes, that's right. Yes, nearly there. Oh, yes, now I'm feeling it. Yes, now it's nearly there. Come on. Oh, it's nearly there. Wait, what? No, no. Ah, God damn it. I hate this hacker crap.
Luke, what are you doing in here?
Are
you trying to steal the company's data again?
Maybe.
Well, you know the data's all protected, right?
What? How?
By using Surfshark.
Surfshark?
Yes, Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN that will protect your IP address, stop cybercriminals like Luke here, and allows you to watch content from all over the world. Go to surfshark.com/WrestleTalk for 4 extra months of Surfshark. Link is in the description.
Wow, that's great, Tempest. Can you let me know the password to the back end?
Oh yeah, of course. It's CM Punk did nothing wrong 69420. No spaces.
Yeah. Ollie did make this, didn't he?
What gives you that impression? Hello, I'm Tempest, and this is my review of AEW Dynamite, Marvel vs. Capcom, Venom 3, Maximum Carnage in about 5 minutes. So we kicked off this show with Kenny Omega's first AEW match in over a year as he took on Brian Cage. Kenny Omega wrestling on Dynamite. The world is healing. Give me that Vince Carter gif, you know the one. This man plays the role of man recovering from ring rust better than anyone I've ever seen. And if you think for 1 second any of that wasn't on purpose, then he gotcha. Kenny had to deal with Cage, Lance Archer, and Don Callis in this match, but even a rusty, rebuilt Kenny could do it, pinning Cage with the one-winged angel to win the Battle of the Terminators. After the match, Will Ospreay once again made the save with no music, which is a nice touch for Kenny as the Don Callis family beat him down, but the numbers finally got the best of our dynamic duo as Konosuke Takeshita took out Kenny and Kyle Fletcher took out Will. Sign me up for every possible combination involving all of these guys. This return of Kenny Omega has been picture perfect thus far. After a Hurt Business vignette and a New York Minute from Chris Jericho where he said he guarantees he and Moxley will be on the same page on Collision, wink, Ricochet took to the ring to sulk while the people booed and chanted, "Whose house?" I feel like I need Sat here for these. It's not the same. It's not the same. Finally, he started to speak, but was cut off by Swerve's music, only for Prince Nana to hit him from behind with a chair. I like that Swerve and Nana are not good people despite being babyfaces. It really fits their character that we have come to love from breaking into people's homes and threatening babies and such. You don't just grow out of doing that. Swerve swung a chain and chased Ricochet out of the building. This Ricochet character is legitimately the most interested I've been in the lad as a character probably ever. Shouts out to him. Hope he keeps climbing. Mercedes Moné had a very cool vignette showing all the media she's been doing, which made her look like an even bigger star. And then we had the Hurt Syndicate taking on Mark Briscoe and Private Party. First of all, it is so nice getting to see MVP in a wrestling ring again. It really does piss me off that WWE fumbled MVP when he was in his prime, so we're giving my man his flowers every time out. Ballin' indeed. Mark Briscoe and Private Party did manage to get their fair share of offense in, with Mark hitting a nasty dive to the outside, but ultimately Shelton Benjamin got the clean pin for his team, capping off a dominant victory. I'm quite sad that Private Party couldn't have a better run, but these belts need to go directly around the waists of Lashley and Benjamin pronto. They're 10 times cooler and 10 times more interesting. Strap them up. But then we had the segment. Jeff Jarrett came out for a promo and was immediately interrupted by MJF. Now MJF did his usual MJF shtick. He said that Double J is wrestling's Grim Reaper, and where he shows up, a company dies. He said he would send Jeff back to rehab and then Jeff's wife and send her home so Jeff knows what his and Kurt Angle's balls taste like. But then we had Jeff's rebuttal. See, I'm not that bent out of shape about MJF saying those type of things. That is very much in line with his character. He's an incel, he's an edgelord. This is very much in line with what he would do. Jeff Jarrett, though. Jeff Jarrett. Jeff said he was MJF before MJF, and he did it better. He said MJF's mother was a call girl, and then said Alicia Atout was also a call girl. He really made this his whole point, that these people are just prostitutes. Otherwise, the promo was fine, but this middle section of our sympathetic babyface calling women call girls for zero reason would have been enough to get me to shut the show off. Smarten up, old man. Max said he needed the AEW World Championship again because all the people that put him on a pedestal ripped that pedestal out from under him, and he needs the title to shove it down their throats. He invoked the name of Owen Hart, and Jeff dropped him. I love MJF stating his motivation for wanting to be champion again, but that was the only nugget I was able to pull from this promo. It was dreadful. Then Christian Cage finally took on Hook. Hook jumped Christian during his entrance, and Christian tried to appeal to Hook's need for a father and gave him a hug that quickly became a belly-to-belly suplex, and Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian came to ringside to back Cage up before Shibata came to ringside to back Hook up. All the extras fought towards the end, and then the patriarchy hit the ring for the DQ when Hook had Cage in the red rum. lame as all hell finish to end a match that can be categorized as having happened. However, it did lead to the moment of the night thus far, as Samoa Joe made his long-awaited return to save Hook. Don't ask why Joe isn't looking for revenge on Chris Jericho. When a fortunate soul escapes the vortex, we don't ask why, we just say thank you. We had a vignette with most of the competitors from the Casino Gauntlet stating their desires. Jay White wants Wheeler Yuta. Kyle O'Reilly will probably face Daniel Garcia soon. The Undisputed Kingdom want gold. That's about it. None of that pops off the page, but I'll be happy to see Kyle and Danny tear it up. Jeff Jarrett got a big pep talk from Dustin Rhodes, and then it was time for the Women's Casino Gauntlet match. Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter started 1 and 2, and immediately the announcers pointed out that they weren't wrestling like they were trying to win the match in the first allotment of time, so that was weird, but if you ignore that, the action was great. Entering third, though, was the re-debuting Megan Bayne, who had long been rumored to be joining AEW, and who Mariah May, who was doing commentary, was not happy to see. She flew around the ring delivering big clotheslines and looking awesome. Just immediately you can tell that Bayne has big TV presence. Julia Hart was out next and she beckoned to Jamie Hayter to come get some, and truth be told, she did. Jamie beat the out of Julia as they went to commercial, and then Bayne beat Julia up on the outside. Willow Nightingale was next, coming out to a massive pop. She and Chris Statlander worked together to suplex Bayne, and then shared a little smile before they started trading chops. It was a sweet moment to see them happy together. I just wish the storyline since their match would have given this a bit more emotional weight. Then it was indeed Toni time, as Toni Storm came out to the biggest pop yet, and she once again ran wild with snapmares and training school offense as our crowd chanted, "She's our rookie." Harley Cameron was the last woman to enter the match, and boy, she's just a hoot, isn't she? She ran wild until Julia Hart misted her in the eyes, and Toni was able to roll up Julia for the win. It was a bit of a clunky finish, but it got us to the destination we all expected. Toni versus Mariah 2 at Aussie Grand Slam. We'll see if Toni can step up in the first title match of her career. Also, shout out to Megan Bayne. That's a big signing and one to watch. Then it was time for our main event, as Jon Moxley retained the AEW World Championship against Powerhouse Hobbs. They made Hobbs look like as much of a monster in this match as possible. You could not have done more to protect him in defeat. After some crowd brawling, Hobbs decided to target Moxley's ear and bit it until Mox was pouring blood. Like, it was a lot even by his soggy standards. Hobbs dominated this match all the way through, but then Wheeler hit the Psycho knee, Marina hit Hobbs with the briefcase, Mox hit the paradigm shift, and then finally choked Hobbs out with the Bulldog choke. It was impossible to emerge from this thinking that anyone but Hobbs was the better man here, and I guess that's the most you can ask for in a match that would have taken a massive shift in creative for Hobbs to win. The Death Riders crushed Hobbs' knee in the chairs, rated FTR made the very late save. Might have been nice of them to, ward off all the cheating that was going on, but maybe they don't care that much. Overall, Maximum Carnage had some very high highs and some of the lowest lows I have seen from AEW in ages. That seems to be the Dynamite way these days, but thankfully when the highs are things like Kenny Omega returning to the ring, the return of Samoa Joe, and another fun and fancy-free Casino Gauntlet match, it can be easy to ignore the other stuff, but man, Jeff Jarrett made it hard this week. AEW Dynamite Maximum Carnage gets... It doesn't get a... 3 is too low. I hated the Jeff Jarrett thing too much for it to be a 4, so I'm splitting the difference. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. If we don't do that, yes we do. But before I go, make sure you check out episode 2 of Video Game League over on Control Freaks as I prove how good I am at Mario Strikers Battle League Football. Football!